want to go right into the cabin?
Yeah, I'll go right into it, and then if you all have any follow-up questions, feel free to ask. We'll try to make sure.
And the best thing to do is just look at one person the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, so first name, last name.
I'm Captain Sean Cummings, Austin Fire, SEANCUMMINGS.
What happened here this morning?
Austin Fire responded to a report of a fire at approximately 8:07 a.m. this morning. The structure was a 3-story apartment complex with approximately 20 units. Upon arrival, they found one occupant had been inside. They had smoke inhalation. Crews assisted them. She was transported to Dale Hospital and is currently in stable condition. Upon arrival, crews found the first floor was boarded up. They started an offensive attack, used hose lines to go inside the structure to attempt to extinguish it. At approximately 8:37 a.m., there was a partial collapse of the roof and parts of the structure. After the collapse, our crews went defensive, meaning they only fought the fire from outside the structure. The fire did come into control at approximately between 8:45 and 9 a.m. Crews are still on site looking for the cause of the investigation. Excuse me. Crews are still on site. They're assessing the cause of the fire.
You said one person was rescued. Did you guys go in and physically bring her out?
Upon arrival, there was one person who had exited the building on their own accord. Fire crews met with them and delivered them to EMS.
And this is boarded up, so are we assuming this was a homeless person or whatever you guys call it?
The building was boarded up. There were supposed to be no occupants within the structure. However, there was one person inside the building that was not supposed to be there.
And you said it's 20 units? I heard 20. That's not 20 people, obviously.
Correct. There were 20 units, but the entire building was not supposed to be occupied. So they were supposed to be empty.
Did a neighbor make the call then?
I don't have information on who called 911 first. Crews did report on the way that they could see fire as far away as the Riverside intersection.
Do you know the patient's condition? Is it life-threatening?
Currently, the patient is listed in stable condition.
Gotcha. And did they reach just smoke inhalation, or did they get some burns?
From the information we've been given is that she had smoke inhalation.
All right, unrelated to this fire, because it's too soon, but right now a lot of people, they've been started to put on in the last month or so, started to use their heaters for the first time, and we all know that can lead to fires. What should people do to prevent fires in cold weather?
Well, anytime it's cold, people start to pull out space heaters and other heating devices. We have to keep those at least 30 inches away from any other combustible materials. Also, they pull a lot of energy through the electrical plugs, and so it's important to plug those directly into wall outlets, not into power strips or extension cords.
Is it a good idea to make sure your smoke detectors have good batteries?
Absolutely. Smoke detectors are recommended to be checked at least once a year. They only last 10 years, so if you have an old smoke detector, it's time to replace it. Make sure your batteries are working. You actually have you're twice as likely to survive a fire if you have a working smoke detector in your building.
And then you guys provide a service for people that don't have smoke detectors, is that right?
That's correct. You can contact the Austin Fire Department, and we provide free smoke detectors and installs to people who cannot provide them for themselves. And you can reach that by calling our Austin Fire headquarters, and we'll direct you to the right location.
Just a side note: were anybody in adjacent units displaced because of this?
The building was unoccupied We had one person who exited the building by themselves.
But not anybody that was supposed to be there had to be displaced today.
Correct.
Do you know, is this whole complex empty or just that one building?
I don't have that information. Just looking at the parking lot, it appears to have residents, but this building itself was boarded up to keep people out. That's as much information as I have on that.
And then who's investigating? Is it arson or?
We do have arson investigators respond to any 2-alarm fire, which this one did go up to a 2-alarm. So they are on site actively investigating the cause of the fire.
And what was it that caused it to become a 2-alarm?
Well, upon arrival, there were flames through the roof. We tried to initially extinguish the fire with our smaller hose lines. However, the extent of the fire was too large, so we had to use larger master streams that come from our aerial devices. There was a partial collapse. It was unsafe for our crews to operate inside because of the potential for further collapse.
Was there any electrical or gas active in that with the utilities on?
I don't have that information at the time.
Thank you.
I don't know who's here.
Is that y'all's drone up there? Is that the fire department's drone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it a Enterprise class DJI or what?
I don't have any of the specifics on the drone type, but
We stay up a long time, right?
usually about 15 plus minutes at a
Oh,
time.
okay. It's
If
not one
we
of those.
rotate batteries.
The police have ones that stay up for hours. Those are very interesting.
Right.
As a drone pilot myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe out there.
Thanks, sir.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
Yes, sir.
All y'all. Except for you, if you will. That DJI?
Yeah.
Which one is it? M30? Wow, that's nice. Yeah. What's up? What's up? Anyhow, this is what it looks like over here. There's our the tailgate office right there, command center. Drone's going up. Fire department's here. This is a good use of a drone. You know, they can tell structural things. They can possibly turn stuff into the insurance companies with evidence. Damages. Documentation. They're looking for these houses over here.
See what it costs.
Ring cameras right now. So it's pretty common. It's been in the news where the haters of the homeless. You notice how the news was talking about the homeless. Even though the fire department says that's not homeless. You can't be homeless if you have a roof over your head. It's kind of like the deal. So there's some structural damage. But yeah, it's pretty common for conservative right wingers carrying stands. It's been in the video, in some see where they like to set fire to homeless camps and homeless people. So people that they don't like, minorities, this is all minorities. So I'm glad they're doing an arson investigation because it may be some right wingers that did this. We got a large, we're having a safety meeting, letting everybody in the back put out now. So it's not even starting. We got this, they're still pouring water in off their pump ladder here. Pump train. What do you call it? Not really a ladder. I don't think it's put the train. But these guys are operating from right there. There's a lot of water leaking. Hoses, like discharge. And rubber washers might help with that. There's a lot of water coming out. And these arson guys got guns on them. Is that fire department, really? Please tell me they're not fire department. I think that's APD. Like the ring cams. They're having a safety meeting over there. APD. We don't know what the top codes are. 3846 is the unit number on that SUV. Anyhow, let me get a little shot here for y'all. We got ladder 17. Alright. 343 feet back because 342 is not enough. Here's the electrical box. Off a little bit. There's the roof collapse right there. Sad that someone got smoke inhalation, but so far they're saying nobody died. And this is one of the closed buildings. All these buildings are not closed. Those are stupid questions. The news doesn't come out here. They don't know. They don't know anybody out here. This apartment complex is run by an outside developer, property owner out of town, out of state, I believe. And they don't do repairs. They evict people. They even evict white people. There's a video on my that's a video that was edited and published on this channel about a couple and their dogs that were evicted. They talked about rats. They talked about flooding in the apartment. They talked about all sorts of, harassment by the management and eviction by the management. And so a person who is homeless is a person who's been evicted and it's not under our roof. Okay, do you understand that? There's nobody that's born homeless. It's not something you can, you played in the mud too long and you're dirty. It's a condition of economic stability in a country that's in a city specifically that's very wealthy, where every other person seems to have a dang custom. So displaced individuals, like you would see in a war-torn country, well, they should create an emergency action. The governor, if he gave a shit, there's 50,000 homeless reported by the city in secret on the streets of Austin. 50,000 people who are not necessarily homeless, they're without shelter or without permanent supportive housing or whatever you want to call it. They don't have the things that you have, and people that hate on them and always want to say, hey, is it their fault? They always want to tie every arson to the homeless when it's actually a lot of these people who are asking these questions are the same types of people that will burn a homeless person in an apartment complex to get out. So, there's a lot of that anti-homeless stuff. Here's 3840. I assume these are the George, Henry, Frank, whatever sector people. There's a scene where I got other news to report on. Just wanted to capture this since I came by. These are breathing air systems. It's a supplied air respirators. They're all running across the street. I went somewhere else. I guess they're done with the safety meeting. Breathing air systems so that you can not get smoke inhalation while you're trying to save lives and property. Because if they just let it burn down, it could affect other buildings, affect the apartments across the street, depending on the direction of the wind and the rate of the embers get into the leaves and your eaves. That's why you got to keep the leaves out here. Safety one. So field training officers, FTO, what they call it FTO. APD uses those too. It's just someone who trains the other officer. That's his main job, is to get out on the field, tell them to do this, do that. It'd be better if you did this, do that. This is probably fire here. It's an unmarked. It might be arson. This might be arson. Nancy Tom X-ray 8723. Ford F-150, not exempt plates. That's probably arson. That's probably APDs. Another one of their vehicles. 1061. Mess. Mess down here. Water running into the storm drain. It's dry right here. So we got a lot of ingress of water into the system here on both sides of the road. It's still flowing on the other side. You can see that.
Far out, brother.
Hey, there's a fire.
There you go, fire.
Bring the drone down. Drone is coming down. Let's say it was an M30. Arson people. It's gonna have these boots on there. Arson boots. A little jacked on the sauce. APD, not APD's jacked on the sauce. I fully support the sauce. Fully support the people. There's another storm drain where it's going in there. You can hear it. So that's all going to Town Lake. That's all going down to Town Lake. That's the closest water. Send it down the water. Even though the slope comes down here, they got another slope going that way. Oops. Yeah, that's a lot of water. They're still pouring water up there, but it's also leaking out of those hoses. But maybe that's the only thing they can do. Fucking that stuff over there. Yeah, this is low-income housing. The city wants to get rid of all poor people and all low-income and make it what's called, and the nonprofits are doing this too. They all say affordable. So affordable means yuppies come in from out of town, need to have a place to live, but at their pay rate, which is $75,000 a year more. So low-income is $17,500 and below, and that's poverty. Well, that's poverty level. So look at that. Look at that view right there. Oh, whole center of that was just collapsed right there. Oh. That's a stairwell, but it's collapsed on the top there. It's bad. It's bad. But like one of the neighbors said, they're trying to gentrify this area. So, trying to gentrify this area and remove all these apartments and bring in rich people. That's gentrification. That's that affordable income talking point. Nobody says. All right, y'all. That's what's up. See y'all later. Hey, remember, check your eaves. Get the leaves out of your eaves. And check your fuses. Make sure that you have to check each appliance attached to each place. You should really hire an electrician to do a little audit of your stuff. You can have the old what do they call them? Circuit breakers, switches. Like if they're like 50 amp, they it's just like you put 75 amps with a wattage signal for your electronics, and it's attached to a 50 amp fuse. It's gonna burn the output because the old fuse is they just don't. So it's kind of like a surge protector, but the newer fuses will shut off. Then you won't be able to plug in more wattage. Then just have an electrician check this stuff out. It's a fire, card, smoke alarm, carbon monoxide alarm. with all that stuff going on. Yeah, batteries. Push a little button, it'll beep. What else? You can reset it on remove the battery, put it back in. It starts beeping. You can't turn it off. Make sure your plugs aren't plugged in halfway in. And let's just get everybody in the house. How about we do that instead of letting people freeze to death out in the streets like EMS and APD have been doing for years, just letting people die on the streets and hiding that information from the television newspaper and why don't we just go ahead and just take care of people like they do in other states, in Wisconsin, in Chicago, New York. They go and take care of people. Why don't we just take care of people so they don't freeze to death? The freezing is going to be a problem, and the way that the city, the local municipal government, and state government, including DPS, what they do is they do sweeps and they take people's personal belongings and their sleeping bags and their clothes, their extra clothes, everything that they can keep alive with, they take it away and let people freeze to death. They take it without a warrant, without a lien. It's unconstitutional in many ways, not just cruel and unusual punishment. It's theft of property. And if they can do it to one of us, they can do it to all of us. And so I know people that have lived in houses. There's an old man, Arnold, years ago. And he hung out at Waterbury. He didn't like the French fries that had points on them. The little piece of the French fries, he liked the longer French fries. And he was a little picky, persnickety guy, rode his bicycle around. He had a home. He owned a home on Red Street. And one day, the city with one of the nonprofits, Easter Steels, what we call them on the street, they came and took everything he owned off the front porch of his house. He had tools, toolboxes, other stuff, and they took all his stuff, cut his shrubs down and everything. So that was called a sweep. That's going to happen to you. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to you. Just remember, we all have the right to share. So take care of yourself. Be responsible for your health and other people's health. That's all I'm saying. The government may tell you a lot of good things, like they're trying to make more affordable housing and they really care about the community's health, but it's all bullshit. These city councilmen, Greg Abbott, they don't give a shit. They literally got blood on them. They're just ripping with murdering the blood of the people that they've murdered. They killed 500 or more people in Austin this year. Oh, there's a little smolder still up there. I see. There's a little smolder. I see a little smoke. See it? Not for lack of water. That's my fire extinguisher.